UNISA is struggling to tackle the growing problem of cheating. It was so bad that Higher Education Minister Nzimande commissioned an independent investigation. It found students were using third parties to complete assignments, coursework and even exams. The trend seems to be more prevalent in distance learning institutions. But with more universities moving to online assessments, the problem may be far greater. Let's discuss this with education activist Hendrick Makaneta. Hendrick, thank you so much for joining us right here on NewsLink. I mean, in your view, how dire is the situation at UNISA, seeing reports of even a tutor at UNISA saying that, students had previously also asked for him to help them cheat, saying that they were doing this out of desperation?
Well, to be quite honest, Tumelo, the question of cheating in the terrain of higher education is very rife. And of course, if you look at it, every student wants to get ahead. Every student wants to achieve and obtain a university degree at some point. And so some of the students will even, go to the extent of accepting any opportunity that comes, be it from tutors or from former students who may have done the course that they are doing. And I'm not surprised that the problem escalated during the years of 2020 as well as 2021 when COVID hit the country, because every student had to now go for online learning and teaching, including writing their exams. And so cheating might have been very high during that period.
No, it definitely has. And one wonders then what then happens to the credibility of these institutions of higher learning. Just in terms of that uptick we're seeing in the numbers, a total of 10,954 cases this past December 2022. This is the number of academic misconduct for the 2022 examination period. So what is to be made then of the credibility of institutions of higher learning if there's so many cases of academic fraud and, students or academics maybe, of course, parading qualifications that they might have gotten them fraudulently?
Well, I think that, Tumelo, it will show in the long run. Obviously, it's like someone obtaining a permission to be in the country. In other words, getting citizenship from another country. So obviously, as and when time proceeds, it may show in the quality of work that these graduates will be doing in the various fields that they are in. But of course, as you have mentioned, the credibility of these institutions may be dented forever. You will recall that some universities, such as the University of KwaZulu-Natal, have also been affected by this type of scenario in the past. And so the result could be that some of the parents may not send their children to UNISA or to any other institution as such, as they, they have to select. Even employers in the long run may have to be skeptical in relation to some of the qualifications which were obtained in institutions that are no longer credible.
Right. Are you at all also concerned, Hendrick, about, the rise in the use of apps such as ChatGPT when, of course, having to do assignments and coursework? I mean, what most academics fear is that there will no longer be critical thinking, but, of course, just making use of an app where you place your thesis statement or ask a couple of questions, and those then you in turn copy and paste onto your answer sheet.
I think that universities as well need to move with times. They must up their game. They must come up with mechanisms to be able to detect some of these assignments that may have been, done using various apps. Because the world is moving very fast. Technology cannot longer be ignored. And so it is not only the responsibility of learners to conduct themselves in an honest way, but it is also the responsibility of universities to find a way to detect any fraudulent activities that students may be embarking upon. The use of apps is with us It's something that is not going back. We are really going to see it developing even faster in the long run. So what should really happen is that institutions of higher learning must really find a way to ensure that they remain with credible degrees, as well as any other programs that they offer for the general well-being of the country.
What about third parties in this instance? I hear you talking about students and institutions of higher learning, but third parties, I'd mentioned the example of the tutor a bit earlier on. It seems like this is a booming business. I mean, if students are willing to pay for a third party to either write the examinations or their assignments or coursework, that could be another problem where it seems there's a black market just to outsource, almost an automatic pass mark, for your qualification.
This is where the university must come up with different ways of assessing the students. If the current way of assessment, has got loopholes, such as the one that we've just mentioned, then universities have to find alternative means to cut this middleman, to cut out the third party by ensuring that most of the assessments should be written, at university level and not online, because online has proved that it creates problems, of cheating. We have students who are now sitting with degrees, but they don't really know much of the content that they claim to have studied about. So universities may have to really come up with different ways and means to ensure that students are able to write physically inside the classroom, where they will be monitored as it has been happening all over the years, where there's an invigilator who is able to invigilate their work, so that universities can be sure that the work has been written by the student and not necessarily by the third person or the third party.